Well, Americans are marking the anniversary of the shooting death of a black teenager, Trayvon Martin. Demonstrators who were symbolically wearing hoodies in the style worn by Martin gathered in New York and Florida. In Sanford, where Martin was killed, the case has triggered deep emotions, and protesters have held a candlelight vigil and a moment of silence. On February the 26th last year, the 17-year-old black teenager was shot and killed by neighborhood watch volunteer George Zimmerman. The killer now faces second-degree murder charges. Trayvon Martin's death triggered a huge public outcry against racial profiling and racist killings in the U.S. Well, to discuss this further, we're being joined by Randy Short. He's with the Dignity, Human Rights and Peace Organization, joining us via Skype from Washington. Many thanks for joining us here on Press TV, Mr. Short. Now, a year on, how far do you think the American public has come in solving its problem of racial profiling, specifically ones that has been institutionalized in its law enforcement?
Well, compare it to America's advancement in dealing with Iran, considering the Oscar being given for the film Argo. It's analogous. Nothing has changed. The power relationships that allowed this man to be killed, and one killed every 24 to 36 hours since he got shot a year ago. So in reality, what would change the society? Certainly not the election of Obama, who didn't deal with it. So nothing's changed. Things are more or less the same. It's open season on black people and brown people, and it's America. That's what we've been doing for 400 years, is either killing or stealing from people of color.
Right, so how many Trayvon Martins are we going to see before the American public as well as law enforcement agencies wake up and realize what's actually happening and what needs to be done to tackle it?
I'll answer it differently from how you've asked me. I'm in a campaign to try to get Depo-Provera outlawed. It is a carcinogenic contraceptive that literally kills people, and the government still pushes it, although they've known it's been deadly since the 70s. So they haven't changed, and in fact push it all over the world. So in relationship to the value of the lives of people of African descent in this country, I don't think we really matter. We have to make ourselves matter. The time is now for a movement for self-determination, sovereignty, and self-respect, and a movement to enforce our human rights. It won't come from the state, and it certainly won't come from the police forces, which are nothing but fascistic occupational gangs that terrorize our community.
So you're saying that change needs to come from bottom up, and that there is no political will per se to bring a change in reality.
You have understood me. The black leadership is either bought off, corrupt, co-opted, or behind bars. We need a new movement. We need a black spring. We need something that changes. Our people have been on lockdown since Martin Luther King's assassination 45 years ago, this April 4th. We've made no substantive moves, and the state has been repressing us for at least 50 years through covert actions like COINTELPRO, Operation Mockingbird. We can go on and on. So we've got, over 1 million people in jail, drugs brought in here through intelligence agencies. We've got these crazy groups like ALEC that made this stand your ground law where they can shoot us all over the country. And while this is happening, this gun control is really, if you ask me, a way to take weapons from us to prevent us from defending ourselves. So there's a total assault on us from Planned Parenthood, which is a government-funded group that its mission is to exterminate our population. And they're funded by the government. And like I said, we have something like Depo-Provera, which is killing women all over our country. Remember, Israel just outlawed on the 28th of January, and yet 84% of the people using in the United States are black. So it's destroying us. We are being wiped out. He's just one publicized example of what's happening to us in this society.
Okay, we're going to have to leave it there. Randy Short with the Dignity, Human Rights and Peace Organization joining us there via Skype from Washington. Mr. Short, it's always good to have you with us here on Press TV.